Well, hello everyone. Another day, another stream to fill the gaps in in our knowledge and stuff. Just setting things up. Hmm. Yeah. I guess it's time. My mini PC isn't on yet. I think we will continue with the Endpoint Administrator stream 2 days ago, and I will open up some lo-fi music as background music to cure the boredom of everyone. Yeah, this is too loud. Does this look it? Great. Now we just need to go back to whichever part we left off last time. I will open an incognito window first. And this one, show the incognito tab. As we can see, as I remember last time we left on the unit 2, right? Let's go back to unit 2. of the entire learning path. Explore endpoint management. Yep. Here we are. Back on track. But there isn't much tracking to do. So, last time we've gone over all of the pillars of modern management, and next we will examine the enterprise desktop lifecycle model. So here, wow. Examine the enterprise desktop lifecycle model. IT departments must be able to meet user requirements. The technologies must be flexible and able to support an environment where work styles change rapidly across different devices and locations. Additionally, companies often expect IT departments to do more to improve business efficiency with fewer resources. An established device lifecycle ensures organizations have the right technologies in place for users to remain productive. The lifecycle also ensures that when devices have reached end of life, they don't become a liability. In today's environment, where users frequently use personal devices, they also become part of that lifecycle. Well, my personal opinion on this is that in my company, devices do expire and do end life cycle, and they would just dump it in the storage or just sell it for the second-hand purchase of used parts, and they usually resell the expired devices with a really low price to the employees, and that's how it is in my company right now. And because we have few users, so devices we have just once in a while some expire, and the employee would just get replaced with a new one, and the old one would get dumped into the storage. But yeah, that's all. So to continue with our unit, organizations constantly manage the different phases of the enterprise desktop lifecycle. These phases include planning, preparing, defining a strategy for system management, purchasing, processing requisitions, and then obtaining approval of invoices for payment, deployment, installing an operating system, enrolling devices, and deploying applications to the device. Operations, ensuring that systems are functioning properly and are protected. Support, ensuring that the end users learn how to use the systems and applications and receive the support they need. Upgrade and retire. This phase includes replacing devices, retiring obsolete hardware, or unrolling a device from the organization. Well, this is just a basic overview of the general life cycle of an enterprise desktop device. Usually, it would depend on the deployee, and the stuff we do will differ in different stages. Like for example, some companies employ remote employees that doesn't use the company's device, but they have their own desktop or device that they use. So company will use the BYOD method to manage their device to ensure security and limit access to company resources on the user's device. And we do this, we accomplish that with an NDM solution like Intune. For example, Intune is usually for Windows, and on Mac there is Jam. But yeah, and for remote employees in the upgrade and retire phase, we would just usually unenroll the device from, like, uninstall the deployment profile on the employee's personal computer. It differs from company devices because, like on NDM solutions, as I know, there are usually two types of enrollment into an NDM solution. First one is user-initiated enrollment, and the steps is that how usually it works is that the user will download a profile file, and that profile will apply policies, install apps and stuff to the user's PC that are company owned. But the drawback of this enrollment method is that they can still unenroll it themselves. So there is a second solution which I've said 2 days ago, which is the automated device enrollment. On Windows, on Intune, it's called Windows Autopilot, and on Jamf, it's called pre-stage enrollment. It differs, but it basically works the same. Like, first time you open a computer to set it up. For example, on Windows, it's the OOBE experience where you get to choose a language at first and then yada yada. And on Windows, you will start to enrolling autopilot there, probably using a command. But on Mac, we will need something like an iPhone, and we will install the Apple configurator from the App Store, and then we log into our MDM solution. We log in with our Apple Business Manager credentials, and then we scan the code from the setup assistant from the macOS screen. That's all needed, and it only supports Mac release in 2018 or later. And that's all about it. The difference between BYOD, bring your own device, and company-owned device is that. BYOD will not do the automatic enrollment stuff, but we'll do it for our company-owned device to prevent theft or data exfiltration. That's just different, but yeah, just so you know. Well, I think this one is a simplified version of the desktop lifecycle model, I guess. It's not that complicated, I guess, but I think it's good for beginners to understand this. But I will study along with you because I don't even know all these. I mostly just remember it from my experience, but let's just follow through. And for the next part is examine planning and purchasing. Well, this part will go in deep into the planning and purchasing step of the device desktop, enterprise desktop lifecycle model. Let's read. Before making any purchasing decisions, organizations should carefully plan their requirements for new systems. Most organizations have a mix of old and new devices. They can replace some of these devices with new equipment and upgrade others to Windows 11. Upgrades require careful planning to ensure they work correctly and efficiently. During the upgrade process, correct any previous operating system misconfiguration. Planning stage includes computer strategy. This planning stage includes policies such as image and hardware standardization, environment design, replacement frequency, mobile device versus desktop usage, and BYOD policies. Computer selection. This process involves choosing hardware, software, and peripherals. It includes design configuration and application compatibility testing. So I remember some process in my company about this computer selection process. Like, because they are a game company, so they have like different specs for like the artist guys or the development guys or the server engineer guys or the tool engineer guys. Like for the artist, for example, the GPU will usually has more like VRAM, for example, and will usually need more like the latest technologies if the game requires it. And it's different spec for different people developing in different systems. We also have some Mac OS users that Mac OS is hardware lock-in, but we do have a consideration for how much of the SSD of the how much internal memory of the Mac OS we are willing to buy for the user. And Mac user they usually buy Mac for the guys that work on the iOS part or the Mac OS part of a certain game. And Well, that's how it's done for our computer selection. Of course, it will go through some of the directors, like director's approval as well, but that's basically it. Next one is deployment methods. Each deployment method includes inherent costs to support that method. Often, IT professionals can use multiple deployment methods to accommodate different scenarios. You should determine whether a cloud-based solution addresses your deployment requirements or what requirements you need for a device to enroll. Now, well, this is the part where we already have a policy for both BYOD for remote users, which is for remote users, and company devices, which is for on-site users. And I've already mentioned to you about the different types of enrollment methods, so I guess known it by now, just or whether the requirements needed for device to enroll. Next point, demand forecasting. This stage is the organization's attempt at predicting its future computing resource requirements to determine the resource it needs to purchase. This forecasting stuff, I guess it's usually IT will put some suggestion and the directors will have the decision on the resources they want to manage and how much to allocate, I guess. Next, design configuration. This process determines which new features you use and how to incorporate them into the overall plan. The new tools, resources, and settings can dramatically simplify configuration process. Well, for this, on Windows, we have like pre-configured ISO files for when we need to do a clean installation for Windows, and we just deploy install the ISO file to make a clean install of Windows. They would just automatically apply the policies and the apps we want to install by default, or the desktop wallpaper, or firewall rules, etc. Everything we can configure everything with a custom Windows ISO. On Mac, I don't think that's possible, but I think after we enroll a certain map, the NDM server the map will pull from the NDM server the configuration profile we have configured for our users, including firewall, login stuff, password sync with SSO, or other stuff, other encryption stuff like 5-volt. Yeah, that's all for design configuration. Let's continue with the unit. Purchasing involves getting personnel, material, services, or property from a vendor through outbound means. It's the action or process of acquiring items at the operational level. The purchasing process includes negotiation, contracts, vendor management, shipping, disposal of packaging materials. During the purchasing stage, several decision points affect the overall cost of the deployment. Hardware typically represents approximately half the cost in the purchase phase of the computer life cycle. Software costs include productivity applications, antivirus software, and communication tools. Well, for this, I think I can shed some light. For enterprise software, our engineers often use a GUI for easy management. I don't know if it's per false, but I don't think that's the right set. And I also remember something like Alexis merge. Yeah, Alexis merge. It's a merge software for Windows and Mac OS. I think that's a reason we use it, but I just don't know what's the reason our company buy it, but let's just say their decision, I guess, just for productivity. Yeah, this is the automatic. I think this is for our artists and for some engineers that wants this. And it supports a lot of files. I don't have a general idea about this, but I think that's a reason it's used. Araxis merge. And for software, we also use Unity, of course, Unity Pro to develop games for our users, for our customers. Jamf, of course. Jamf is the software for the entire office side. It's for managing everyone's computer. Intune. Aside from Intune, we also have what can we have? I can think of JetBrains Suite, such as Rider, IntelliJ, PyCharm. For the Adobe Suite, we have maybe Illustrator, Photoshop. Yeah, that's the two of it. And for 3D art, we have Maya, Autodesk Maya. Yeah, that's all. Or maybe Blender for some. But that's basically it. For antivirus, we have Windows Defender. We also have a license for Defender for Endpoint. For for Windows to protect and to track our logs. And of course, how can we not use, we can't use computers without accessories, of course. Includes various computer-related supplies such as cables, power supplies, keyboards, mice, laptop bags, docking stations, and secure access cards. Secure access cards would be something like the YubiKey, where it's a hardware version of a passkey. And if you didn't know, the passkey is it's like a two-factor authentication method for some identity providers, and for this passkey one, it can be either software or hardware. For software, I also use passkey, and I often save the software key to Bitwarden, which is my free password manager of choice, because it's also very secure. But it's one foot to the grave because it's asking for more funding, because it lacks funding for the development of the project. Yeah, we have cables, power supplies, keyboards, mic, laptop bags, docking stations. We also have like conversion cables such as HDMI, like DisplayPort to HDMI, or USB-A to USB-C. Yeah, that's all. And if you didn't know, talking about DisplayPort and HDMI, DisplayPort is actually for most desktop, like you have a case of desktop, right? Usually in the GPU you'd have less HDMI port than DisplayPort, and there would be like around this 3 DisplayPorts and 1 HDMI and usually we use NVIDIA cards, of course, because it's the mainstream right now for graphic processing. And to think difference between DisplayPort and HDMI is the royalty model. So for the manufacturer of graphics card or the cable themselves, for DisplayPort, they would just need to pay a unchanging yearly fee for their use of the standard. But what I've heard, from what I know, HDMI actually charge on the number of devices, and they will charge a royalty based on the percentage, so the fee is higher. And that's why HDMI is used less. And there are on laptop, I think they consider to put at least on the laptop one port of the HDMI because it's still frequently used more than the display port, and it's for compatibility because we just don't want to like buy a HDMI to display port cable just for conversion cable just for like plugging our HDMI to a projector, which of course doesn't support DisplayPort, which might not support DisplayPort in older models of a projector. And on mini PCs, they usually just shrink the PC build into smaller one, like as small as possible. So, and for the mini PC, the market share is usually for enterprise people. So they usually don't put HDMI in their mini PC cases at all. The mini PC industry is a niche industry, and because it's for like low cost people or for enterprise people, they usually don't use HDMI on the mini PC industry. I can show you the reason. My English is bad, so maybe an AI will answer it better. Why mini PC doesn't HDMI in their PC cases, but use DisplayPort instead. Provide references to your answer and yada yada. Oh, come on, answer in English. Fuck. Answer in fucking English, bitch. Yeah, it's due to greed. It's royalty-free standard to know about it, but to produce using DisplayPort, you have just to pay an annual fee. DisplayPort supports multi-stream strand port, which allows for daisy chaining monitors. This feature enables multiple displays to be connected using a single output port on the PC, which is particularly beneficial for many PCs that have limited physical space for multiple ports. Bandwidth and performance. DisplayPort standards often provide higher bandwidth compared to contemporary HDMI version. For example, DisplayPort 2.1, higher peak bit rates, higher refresh rates, higher resolutions for high-end monitors and professional workstations. More stable connection than HDMI. Easily compatible. And title. I just don't understand why it keeps answering on my home language instead of English, but I guess it's due to my location. Sometimes AI is stupid. Seriously. I fucking hate it when sometimes AI would just like I ask technical stuff in English and they answer in Vietnamese, which is obviously unfit for technical stuff because Vietnamese also like chain a lot of English into language, and I just don't like to mix languages. Continuing with our unit. Deployment process. The chosen deployment method will directly affect the overall deployment cost. Additional costs can include storage requirements of file servers and hard disk drives, USB flash drives, and providing greater bandwidth for pushing large images and user data across a network. Hardware staging. After the system arrives, you must prepare them for deployment. This process includes securely and adequately storing, unpacking, inspecting, and inventorying the systems. You should set aside the necessary space for staging the newly purchased hardware before it arrives. I actually hasn't observed the deployment process and the hardware staging process yet, but I'm also unclear of the cost of hardware staging, so I don't know. Maybe it's not that we handle, but the purchasing staff that handles it. We have just finished 2 units in a span of 40 minutes. And overall, my extra insight takes most of the time. And since I'm speaking English, it's a little bit sore for my throat right now, so I will take a break. See you guys in a bit. And I will keep the lo-fi music on so that you can listen to it while I'm not here. If you're here, I guess. Or if there's no one, it'll be just part of the video, I guess. Well, see you. Hello. And it works again. I just put it in my Bluetooth and it comes with a microphone, so I had to restart my voice changer for this so that it can detect newly changed one. Takes a few more seconds. And here we are. We have completed this unit. Hardware staging. I have no more stuff to say in this unit, so let's go to the next unit, which is examine desktop deployment. Well, it's the other steps you have seen on the chart. They're all here, but just different names. Examine desktop deployment. Deployments comprise the activities that make a computer device available for use. The general deployment process consists of several interrelated activities with transitions between the build and deployment phases. The desktop deployment lifecycle provides a framework for the tasks required to deploy a software application or operating system successfully. It would be best if you understood the lifecycle phases to properly plan for the development and tool needed for effective implementation. The critical phases of the desktop deployment lifecycle are building and deploying. Yeah, so this is our the most important phases. Building phase allows you to improve efficiencies when developing a strategy for a base OS configuration. Its key steps include streamlining the deployment process, developing automated solutions and procedures that you can use for deployment. Automated solutions, in my opinion, it's definitely Windows Autopilot for in Intune and VM, and on macOS, it's the pre-stage enrollment for the device. Yep. Next step, developing the deployment process using traditional imaging might consist of a baseline OS image. So a baseline OS image is the image that we obtained from the default ISO we download from Microsoft. We perform clean installation of Windows, so we get a baseline OS image. And using Windows Autopilot, we can create a custom base device configuration suited to our needs and configuring like default GPO policies, group policies object policies. Test. The testing steps. With a test system, you might identify and correct errors before deployment. Many IT professionals use virtual machines to simulate deployment and validate configurations quickly and effectively. However, a testing plan should include testing deployments to physical devices before deployment. Yeah, of course, because for this, things might work differently in a physical device than it would in a virtual machine. Because on a virtual machine, the the OS that we run the virtualization software provides all the hardware and the software virtualization for the stuff like keyboard, input devices and output devices, all of that. And they may not work if you switch to a physical device system. You need to test those because the world of OS is full of mysteries, full of tries and retries, and it's full of a hell retry, try and fix, and iterate and iterate. One thing I will have additional insight about this testing phase with Windows. I think it's good for Windows. I think it's fine for Windows like that, but for macOS, I think the testing might be in a bit of a dilemma because a macOS device itself is very expensive for a company. And when Apple switched to using an Apple silicon, which the instruction set ARM instead of continuing with Intel, our company has some sort of a disaster because we can buy device like Apple silicon devices for our users, but the directors doesn't even approve of like buying some test devices for test macOS devices, Apple silicon test devices for our IT department because mainly it doesn't worth it, and they do not consider that as a priority. So I guess it depends on the company, I guess. Company and their budget and how much they want to spend on things and stuff. Yeah, that's the dilemma for like configuration on macOS. Moving on to the next step is configuration. This step includes developing an automation solution, testing and configuring standardized image or device configurations, accounting for IT labor to configure computers and planning for network access configuration. When this is true, I think this is the step where we step in on the ADM profile. No, we usually have this like set up way before deploying on a massive scale. But we usually just test out the configuration policies we want first and test out the automation we want to run frequently on the computer itself and configuring the scope to prevent the devices from and the configuration to prevent them from conflicting with each other. And for the network access stuff, remember that we have a profile for our Jamf code that just automatically like locks you in the how to join the Wi-Fi, the company's Wi-Fi network. We just need to provide an SSID name and a password that we have. I think it's possible on Intune too, but I haven't tested it. But I think it would work. I think I spent too much time talking about my extra insight, so let's move on. And the next part is deployments. Of course, deployment. After you build and test your baseline OS, you can begin deploying them and ensure they're stable and usable. A typical deployment takes place in phases throughout the networking environment. The deployment team stabilizes each phase before progressing to performing upgrades or installations. You can use the early phases to validate scenarios such as device configuration profiles, image configurations, the end user experience, application deployment success, and so forth. So yeah, that's just what I've just said. Configuration profiles, image configurations. The end user experience, I think, is included in the device configuration profiles because end user experience is related to something like taskbar personalization, the specific wallpaper they see every day, or the animation stuff on Windows or whatever. They can all be configured using configuration profiles on Intune. Or about application deployment. For application deployment, we have a part for deploying scripts or automation and we can set the frequency and scope just like the device configuration profiles. And yeah, that's it for the deployment part. And for the enrollment part, let's read what enrollment does now. Operating system deployment. The existing device becomes a recognized entity within the organization and can access resources. For devices that already have Windows 10 and later, modern methods don't require the OS to be redeployed to configure the device. Instead, the device is reconfigured to the organization's requirements by enrolling the device and using Windows Autopilot. You can also use enrollment for mobile devices and the support for bring your own devices BYOD scenarios. These scenarios supported can range from accessing email utilizing the user's devices to deploying organizational applications and complete management of the device. Each organizational group within each use case scenario might have different requirements. You might have additional requirements for your use case and sub-use case scenarios. their associated organizational groups, and mobile device platforms. You might define which devices you'll support and the minimum required configurations to access a resource. For example, your organizational device requirements might require devices to enroll with a more restricted set of device settings, like a pin of 6 characters or disable cloud data. BYOD scenarios might be less restrictive and allow a 4-character pin and cloud data. Yeah, so it differs about the use case scenario. Like for example, the BYOD remote employees, they have to have a different setup, or about the on-site employees, they will have a different setup, and for contractors, they will have a different setup. It just depends on the employee, their skill, and their decisions about deploying stuff, I guess. And data migration. Even with a successful deployment, data loss is almost always unacceptable. Many organizations are moving to cloud solutions such as Microsoft 365 or OneDrive to minimize or even eliminate the need for data migration. I'll give a little insight here. In my opinion, the Microsoft 365 or OneDrive thing is just, we cannot trust Microsoft to protect our data because they would just outright give it to the related government body if they request it. For example, in a few years ago, Microsoft has a service where we would, we can encrypt our Windows device with BitLocker, and our drives will need a password to unlock it, right? So Microsoft offers a service it's a free service linked to your Microsoft account, which lets you automatically back up your BitLocker key to Microsoft service. But there was a request from some government body in the United States, and Microsoft just gives them the key. That easy. I mean, it's really easy for them just to send them the encryption key of the BitLocker. So I wouldn't really trust Microsoft for privacy because they would just risk their customers' privacy to protect their wallet, to avoid from being sued or being bullied by government bodies. And if the same thing happens to Apple, I guess Apple's security is better than Microsoft. Microsoft's BitLocker is bypassable with some tricks. You can just pull out the main board of the laptop or the desktop and just solder some parts, and it would just get unlocked. BitLocker unlocked. It's really easy to break because since Windows is the most used like PC, most used PC OS in the world for general and power users, including me. But for macOS, since the hardware itself is locked in and they have astronomical security, even with a forgotten like 5-volt key, 5-volt is the stuff they use to encrypt the drive, the data over on macOS. If you forgot your macOS, your 5-volt password, and you don't have a recovered key, the security is so strict that you would have to perform a full wipe of your device. And just like for personal, like if the device is linked to an Apple account, it's even harder now, even after the wipe, because now you'd have to, like, the stealer or whoever trying to wipe your device has to prove that they are the owner of the device by logging in with the previous Apple ID. If before a wipe you haven't logged out to the Apple ID yet, and it's that powerful. I think with enough effort, everything is breakable, but for stuff like Apple, it's just not worth it because they would just improve the code. If you want the data, if you somehow want to recover data, you would have to like spend an astronomically amount of money to have some expert in like going through the code of the macOS recovery and trying to go around it and trying to break the 5-volt and get your data. It will cost a lot of money if you lose your data on a macOS if you want to recover it. So just a warning for me. But aside, I still don't trust Microsoft that much. Especially big techs. Big techs are not trustable. And moving on. Organizations should ensure users are aware of and use the supported options. The users are probably aware, but they won't use it as the options suck ass. It would be best to consider scenarios where cloud solutions are available or feasible. There are several solutions available that this course will cover, but it's important to understand that data is a critical part of the process. When planning for data during a deployment, some best practices are: 1. Migrate essential data to a cloud or non-local solution before deployment. It's generally easier and safer than continuing the risk and solving the problem after migration. Tools like known folder move can help seamlessly migrate local data to a cloud. When cloud solutions aren't feasible, consider migrating data to network caches or work folders. You can use features like enterprise state roaming to migrate common settings. So known folder move, I think it's a tool on Windows because it's a OneDrive features. Of course, they're going to advertise their OneDrive features in a course for Microsoft. And I guess enterprise state roaming is something of OneDrive too. It's for Entra ID. I know Entra ID is the user management platform for Intune. It's just like, I guess it's just like Jamf Connect for Mac devices. But yeah, that's enterprise state roaming. Another Microsoft feature, I guess. Use in-place upgrade when possible. This process is the recommended practice for deploying upgrades. While re-imaging devices were historically recommended in the past, this is only the case today if there's a scenario where in-place upgrades aren't supported. So in-place upgrades is just like upgrading directly on these host devices without having to like plug your USB, go to boot options, and then choose your USB, and you have to choose the drive to install the Windows. You don't have to do that if you use in-place upgrades. For example, you would just like mount the ISO file to File Explorer and run the setup.exe file in the mounted drive, and that's the in-place upgrade. Or you can simply use Windows Update. It can automatically upgrade the OS. Next one, use the user state migration tool. The user state migration tool is used when local data or application settings migration is necessary. You can use user state migration tool USMT 10.0 to streamline and simplify user state migration during large deployments of Windows operating systems. USMT captures user accounts, user files, operating system settings, and application settings, and migrates them to a new Windows installation. You can use USMT for both PC replacement and PC refresh migrations. Yeah, so I guess this is a OneDrive thing. It's a separate command line for Windows. Yeah, so it's in the Windows ADK. And this is the one to also create a custom ISO if you want. Just research it yourself and you'll find out. I won't be going too deep into that today. And yeah, that's it for the Unit 5. That was long because of my extra insights, but let's see what we have here. A lot of stuff. Plan an application deployment. Application deployment planning consists of 3 phases: managing application inventory and compatibility, packaging applications, and providing lifecycle support. Application inventory and compatibility. Application compatibility can have a far-reaching impact on your organization. You can significantly reduce that impact by adequately planning your application compatibility project. Updates to Windows rarely affect application compatibility. However, they can happen. Most applications will function as expected when upgrading from a previous OS, such as Windows 10 to Windows 11. However, there are typically always some applications, such as antivirus, that will require attention. Of course, the Windows Defender no left device is a separate update from normal feature update or quality updates of Windows OSs on Windows version. That's what I've observed. Gathering an application inventory is the first step in understanding the effect of application compatibility changes in your environment. Microsoft offers tools to perform asset inventory, such as the Microsoft Engine Suite. Like earlier, it's the MDM solution I've mentioned before. For environments with thousands of managed applications, you can undertake an application compatibility project to reduce the number of applications in the environment, which will reduce the cost associated with application proliferation. An easy, immediate way to reduce the number of applications within an environment is to standardize the application versions across an organization. Newer applications might supersede many older applications that provide similar functionality, thus enabling you to remove older applications. You eliminate corresponding licensing and support costs every time you remove an application. During an application compatibility project, you can analyze application compatibility across your entire enterprise. Well, that was deep because we usually don't do this, and we just buy the stuff that our employees need when they need, and they just install it themselves. But it's a good to know, I guess, because I guess this is for larger game studios or larger IT companies. They might need this on a larger scale for bigger security or governmental projects that might need this. application packaging. Application packaging and automated installation involve using silent installation commands from vendors. You can find these commands in installation guides, on internet forums, or by launching the setup application with the /help or /? Command line options. Silent installation commands might not be available for applications that you develop in-house. If this occurs, you will either need to package or repackage those applications if the installer package doesn't work. You can create Windows installer packages. Windows Application Virtualization (AppV) provides a package mechanism with the application sequencing it uses to create virtual applications. And because it's almost on end of life on April 2026, we have a note here. Next is application lifecycle support. Application lifecycle support usually involves deploying new applications, installing new versions of existing applications, and updating applications. 3 steps. Deploying new applications, and it's a best practice to test new applications for compatibility issues with existing applications. So when installing new versions of existing applications, a version upgrade tends to be significantly more complex than updates. And comprehensive planning and testing are fundamental to ensuring that the upgrade release occurs appropriately. And for updating applications, updates are far more frequent and require less testing than version upgrades. I think this is for minor versions of a certain software, because for software that follow semantic versioning, if you don't know, semantic versioning is something like x.y.z, where x is the super major version, y is the major version, and no, I think I'm wrong. X is major, Y is minor, and Z is for bug fixes. If you have minor changes, then for example, WinRAR version 3.2 might move to 3.3 if they fixed a bug in memory corruption, for example. But when WinRAR introduced a really big feature such as a new compression format, such as LZMA from 7-zip, then that's a huge feature update, and the major version will increment by 1, which will be 4.0, I guess. That's just an example. In real life, it doesn't happen that way. So just something for you to able to comprehend. And next we have application delivery. Organizations have several options for choosing how to deliver applications. Applications can be installed automatically such as during deployment based on user group memberships, or through a portal where users can install applications on demand. So this is basically we have like a portal app to install that on BIOD devices or on Entra Joint device or on Windows Autopilot device. We also have a portal for that too. The name of the app is Company Portal, which has app ready for installing. And on Mac, the app itself is called Self-Service Plus. Yeah, on Mac they have it too. They adapted it from Microsoft or maybe from the Star concept of things, I guess. Let's continue. It would be best to consider whether the organization will support access to applications and data on personal devices. Most common scenarios include accessing work email using Outlook on a mobile phone. Still, they can also have the ability for users to install line of business apps on personal devices. Wow. Next, Microsoft Intune. As I said earlier, it's a MDM solution. So Microsoft Intune is a suite of centralized device deployment and management tools. Customers can manage their app deployments using Microsoft Intune. It supports a wide variety of application installation types. Have some water first to clear my voice. Damn it, my throat is a bit sore after repeatedly speaking for quite long. But let's continue. Intune supports a wide variety of application installation types. These deployments include common apps such as Office, application package deployment, line of business apps, and curation of built-in apps. I don't know what line of business apps is, so let's just search for it. Let's see the blog, because I also don't know about this one. Still don't understand the difference of this with a line of business app, but I guess it just installs faster. Yes. think Reddit will be winter to only do not use LB for anything. I think this guy had a bad experience with LLB. I think it's a legacy type of app thing. Intune also supports application policies to protect data in BIOD scenarios and ensures that only devices that meet compliance rules can access application data. Well, virtual application delivery. Virtual application delivery can be beneficial when the client can't run the application. Applications are installed on a server or cloud PC and delivered remotely. Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365 can provide a client desktop experience. These solutions are excellent in scenarios where installing the application could be more practical or desired, such as providing temporary access to a contract. I don't know how about this one. And even if we have it, I don't see the use case for this because maybe I'm not in that industry, in the industry that needs this feature. But I think that is enough for our 2 hours because I'm quite tired now, so see you. I might be back with Linux tomorrow because for the Linux stuff, I figured out why NVIDIA is screwing things up because I installed an updated driver. So I just installed the newest driver version for my mini PC and it worked on WSL. So magic, I guess. So I will probably end the stream here, although there is no viewers. I'm just like streaming just for my self neglect or no self discipline neglect or no self. So see you tomorrow if you've been sick, and good night if you are a Vietnamese who knows English and are watching from afar. Bye. I will leave in a few minutes for you to listen to the lo-fi song and then I will just stop streaming on my OBS. Oh. See you tomorrow or days after tomorrow. Goodbye.